aerospace and defense manufacturing,
machines and automation,
additive manufacturing,
smart manufacturing,
global manufacturing economy.
Welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals, powered by SME. From the design screen to the shop floor to final assembly, we drive the conversation about making manufacturing smarter by connecting people who are passionate about manufacturing.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to SME Media's End of the Year podcast. I'm the Chief Editor, Steve Plum, and I'm joined by Amy Bryson, David Muller, Lawrence Mobes, and Cameron Kirko. Thought it'd be nice to get the team together to reflect on some of the highlights of 2024 and some of the things that we're all looking forward to in 2025. So I think this actually might be the first time we've all been on the same podcast. So it's great to see or hear everyone. For starters, one of the things that sticks out for me is that we have added 2 new team members in 2024. David and Lawrence joined the team in the spring. You both hit the ground running and have been great additions. So it might be good to take a quick moment for both of you to kind of introduce yourselves to the audience. David, let's start with you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Steve and everybody. My name's, like Steve said, it's David Muller. Before I joined FSME in March of this year. Before that, I'd almost 2 decades of journalism experience, and most recently, for maybe almost half of that has been automotive focused. So some crossover with manufacturing, but also economics and technology and things like that. So it's been great to be here and start learning and to join the team.
Hey, Lawrence, what about you?
Oh, thanks. I've also been about 2 decades into my career, and prior to coming here as an editor back in the spring, I worked a little bit closer to the shop floor. I spent 10 years working for an OEM, kind of as a writer, doing a lot of marketing content, that sort of thing. But prior to that, I worked in the skilled trades for one of the big auto companies. So I was very in touch with the shop floor and what was going on there. This is a very new experience for me in a lot of ways, but it's definitely a good continuation of what I've been doing, for the previous portion of my career.
Thanks. So in addition to the new faces, we launched our new website, advancedmanufacturing.org, in April. And we also launched a new publication, Smart Shop Essentials, in 2024. So Amy, in addition to being the lead editor on Smart Manufacturing magazine, you've also helped spearhead Smart Shop Essentials along with our longtime contributor and general great knowledgeable person in all things manufacturing, Kip Hansen. Tell us a little bit more about SSE and how it's been going.
Yeah, so Smart Shop Essentials, as Steve mentioned, we saw a need to provide more prescriptive guidance and use cases and best practices for small and mid-sized shops, which represent the vast majority of manufacturers in the United States. So what we did is create this digital and print. It's sort of a guidebook that provides, as I mentioned, clear and actionable prescriptive guidance on topics ranging from, what is a relevant technology for my shop? What is the right use case for this technology? As well as how to implement them, right? Which Industry 4.0 tools and workforce development strategies are mission critical given the unique, I would say, budget parameters of the smaller shops. So that's been a lot of fun to work on with the greater team, and as well as some other things that we focused on this year as it relates to what I would call the practicality and the promise of technology, which was a big focus for us this year. We spent a lot of time, writing and sharing stories about not just new technology, but really breaking down technology to help people see what are the practical applications of things like AR, AI. One example that comes to mind is, how can augmented reality, for example, change the way shop floor workers are trained and onboarded? And David wrote a great piece for Smart Manufacturing this year about that. We also, spent a lot of time looking at software-based solutions that really can help manufacturers capture data, which data was a big topic this year, not just data, but how to extract insights from data to make better decisions. And, being able to tap into data on really any age machine with the right software, the right data capture devices and sensors. So that practical piece was really important. And then what I see continuing into next year is the focus on AI. What really breaking it down into the reality of what it is. Keeping our finger on the pulse of, what manufacturing jobs will be created and which will be eliminated, candidly, by technology. But, the thread that goes through it all, experts agree that, thankfully, the human element in manufacturing remains the most important part of implementing Industry 4.0 processes. So I foresee a lot of conversation around that in the year ahead.
Hey, David, so what are some of the things that stood out for you in 24 and during your first year?
Definitely Rapid and IMTS. Rapid, I just started, and it was really interesting and excellent to kind of learn so much about the additive manufacturing. I can't really call it an industry, but, subsector or whatever, some of the executives would prefer to call additive manufacturing, and just see kind of where it's at, where it's been, where it's headed, and then get an up close look at like what some different companies are doing in that space. It was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to kind of see where the additive manufacturing goes in 2025. And then IMTS, similar kind of thing, except much bigger and much more broad in scope, and just kind of see how different solutions are being offered to small and medium manufacturers as they kind of try to transition to Industry 4.0 and different ways that they're using, or different ways companies are trying to sell them on artificial intelligence and new machines and things like that was really fascinating.
So Lawrence, and you've been to some of the industry shows in your past life, but how is that different, this current year, and what are some of the other highlights for you?
Well, there's definitely some big differences. As was mentioned earlier, I came to SME as an editor back in May, and I've really spent a lot of the last 7 months getting used to a very different culture than I was in previously, kind of on the shop floor, and the different technology that's used here as well. I also come from a very long line of people, practically as far back as I can tell, who've been involved with manufacturing. I think of my grandfather, my father, a couple of great-grandfathers, mostly in auto industry stuff. And here, especially at the shows, it's been a really interesting experience for me, because previously my involvement on at the shows was as one of the companies who was promoting their technology, promoting their products. The role here is very different that I'm playing, and having a much more kind of even-handed approach of how I look at everybody's technology, and it's been interesting. It's definitely been a learning experience for me. One of the things, or actually a couple of the things that definitely caught my attention this year, a lot more talk about, and I think this is good, a lot of talk about cooperation and collaboration within U.S. industry to kind of help everybody. That's been a big theme. I think that's going to continue. The reach of AI, of course, is big and getting bigger. And cobots. I spent a lot of time this year looking into cobots and getting information on them. And I think that that's a trend that both for productivity, for quality, and to address the kind of the skilled labor shortage that we've experienced in the U.S. I think that cobots are going to be a technology we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about in the future.
Yeah, cobots are definitely on the rise, as is AI, as you noted. I don't think a day goes by where I don't get inundated by emails from companies trying to pitch us new AI-related stories and products. It'll be interesting to see how that transitions in coming years, how industry is able to successfully use that, and what some of the challenges and opportunities are. Cameron, so you've been with us for a couple of years now. You're more of a team veteran, even though you're the youngest person on the team. What are you looking forward to in 25?
Well, I'm interested in seeing how the manufacturing economy is going to shift in 2025. It's been in contraction for 24 of the last 25 months, basically since November of 2022, with the one exception being March of this year. But the Institute for Supply Management is now forecasting economic growth in 2025. 43% of manufacturing supply managers recently surveyed by ISM are predicting 25 to be better than 2024. 42% are predicting it'll be the same, and 15% are predicting it'll be worse. So hopefully the majority proves to be right here.
Thanks. Hey, Amy, what about you? What's on tap for 2025?
Well, I think continuing to cut through the clutter of these buzz phrases and these technologies. We talked a lot, even on this conversation, about AI and robotics. And I think when people envision modern, when people envision, a smart factory, they think of all these robots walking around. In reality, less than 5% of any robotic systems in use will be able to walk in the foreseeable next several years. I mean, the reality of these technologies is what's important, especially to our readers, our listeners. And so really breaking down practical applications and use cases. And as you mentioned earlier, Steve, workforce development is such a huge topic for the industry at large. And identifying, new skills, whether that's training or upskilling or, new hires, whatever that strategy needs to be. And it's probably a mixture of all of those things to help bridge the talent gap as some manufacturers are retiring out, taking with them that legacy knowledge, and this new digital generation is coming in to the shop floor. I think we as an industry and as a media entity have, a good work ahead of us to help, lay out what those careers are in manufacturing, and not just jobs that are transactional, but really meaningful careers rooted in technology and, creating the things that make people's lives work. So it's a really exciting time for manufacturing, and there's a lot of great storytelling that we'll be able to do. So I'm really looking forward to the year ahead.
Thanks, Amy. Very well said. And it is an exciting time for manufacturing, and we have a lot to look forward to in 2025. In addition to our 3 publications on the additive manufacturing and aerospace and defense industry reports, we have several upcoming shows, starting with Rapid Plus TCT in April, which this year will be co-located in Detroit with Aerodef and SME Fusion, as well as SAE International's World Congress Experience and America Makes Technical Review and Exchange. The full list of all of our events is available on sme.org. Until then, and on behalf of everyone at SME Media, enjoy the holidays, and we look forward to talking more in 2025. Please remember to like and subscribe to our feed, and to learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and hear more of our podcasts, visit advancedmanufacturing.org.